Hello and welcome to the Rabbit Hole. The Rabbit Hole with me, Graham Hughes, and the delectable Rachel Harris. How you doing, Rachel? You all right?
I'm still here, you know.
Woo! It's all good. It's all good. We've got
Yeah.
Billy.
It is good, actually.
We've got Billy in the chat. We've got Michael. We've got Sarah. We have got Diz in the chat as well, and Anne in the chat. So, and Scott. Hello, everyone. So this is
Hey, the gangs are all here.
the Anything But Politics channel. So we're going to talk about anything except for politics, because
Which is all we talk about normally.
yeah, it's just so depressing, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
I need to brighten up a little bit. It's not as bright in here as it was.
Well, it's dark in the rabbit hole.
In the rabbit hole. In the rabbit hole. So welcome. If you'd like to join the chat, you can't unless you're already subscribed to the channel. So we're going to be talking today controversial issue.
Yeah.
Sequels and remakes that are better than the original.
Yeah.
Should we start with sequels
Subjectively.
or should we start with remakes? What do you want to
Let's do remakes. So
Remakes.
films that somebody's come along and said, don't like the first film, gonna remake it. And so arguably, is it better?
Yeah.
Does it improve it? Or is the original still, or did it need to be made is the other question, I guess, isn't it?
Ooh, okay. So we could have like our really, really shit remakes and our really good remakes. So have you got like a good remake that you think
Yeah, let me have a little
highlighting?
look. Let me have a little look.
Thanks, Sarah.
Okay. Let's just start with, I've got about 15 films I just jotted down from the top of my head today. The Thing.
Oh, I was going to start with The Thing. Okay, so this is 1982, John Carpenter,
1982.
based on the
Yeah.
1950s movie The Thing from Another World.
That's right. Well, there we go. We agree already. Well, you see.
There's The Thing, there's The Blob, and there's Little Shop of Horrors, which all came out in the 80s and were all remakes of 50s horror movies and were all bloody brilliant. They were much better than the original. Well, The Blob was all right.
I think they actually did The Thing again, actually. They made another one, didn't they?
But it wasn't a remake, it was a prequel.
Right.
So you know how in The Thing it
Yes.
starts with the dog running and the Thing
Yes.
arrives on the station from the dog?
Yeah,
This is the
that's
story
right.
about how the Thing gets into the
Got to
dog.
them.
But confusingly, it's just called The Thing. So you're like, thanks
There's
for
another
that.
thing, and another thing, and another thing.
You got to have the year that it came out in brackets. It's
I'm
quite
sure
good,
that-
actually.
It is actually quite good. It does tie up quite nicely in a Star Warsy kind of way.
Yeah.
Also, there is another one I have in the back of my mind where it was on an oil rig. Another thing, which was kind of, but it was set on an oil rig, but it was, you see, you don't know, and
Armageddon.
You know how much smoke that Greenpeace ship of yours is kicking out. Yeah, so I think the film, I think it did need to be made. I love it as a film. When I was a teenager, I loved it. I
brilliant.
loved Kurt Russell, the ending with Kurt Russell.
Yeah, dark
Let's
ending.
just sit here for a while and see what happens. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also the special effects in it are fantastic because it's the one of the big last hurrahs of practical effects. Like the practical effects in the 1980s,
Yeah.
they look so good. And one of the things about the 1980s as well is like, and the 70s in particular, when they did green screen stuff, it always looked shit. So,
Yeah.
for instance, like in Return of the Jedi, the Rancor pit, you know, it's a really cool sequence. So he gets dropped into this pit in Jabba's palace, and he has to fight this stop motion animation monster. And do you know what? The stop motion looks brilliant. I mean, he's getting picked up and he's got the bone, he puts it in the rank as well. That all looks great. Do you know what looks shit? The bit where he runs past the ranker and it's really obvious that it's a stop motion puppet and that he has been keyed in because he had like a blue glow around them like they were the kid from the Ready Brek commercial.
Yeah, we talked about this last week because I watched GoldenEye weirdly. Not GoldenEye, Die Another Day, and the sort of surfing
You watched
scenes.
it weirdly. You meant did you watch
I
it
did.
hanging
I
upside
watched
down
it
like
upside
Batman?
Much better upside down. It's sort of going up the ice instead of down. Yeah, so the CGI on the ice scene and the race thing is really dodgy with the parachute.
Yeah.
But also the worst CGI I've seen is Escape from Los Angeles. Do you remember the bit from the surfing scene?
Yes.
Not
Snake
good.
Plissken. Yeah.
Oh.
So we've got on the good remake pile, we've got The Thing,
Yeah.
Would you allow me to have the Blob? Although the 50s Blob was pretty good with Steve McQueen.
Yeah, the 50s. But I mean, not saying that. I think these are improvements. The old
Yeah.
ones are still good, and we can say that. So that's
Little
good.
Shop of Horrors is far and away better because it's a musical. The original wasn't a musical.
Feed me now.
Feed me, Seymour. Absolutely brilliant. So let's talk about shit remakes. We've already had a couple.
Right.
I think this is already. I think Attila has already won the Italian Job. Oh my
not
God.
good.
The one that wasn't even set in Italy.
No, Mark Wahlberg.
And Fight Club boy, what's his name?
Yeah,
the guy from Fight Club who was
Donald
Hulk
Sutherland
for 5 minutes.
Donald Sutherland is in it.
Do you know what? Right, let's just do all the bloody Michael Caine shit remakes. Okay, so there's Italian Job, that was shit. Alfie with your man from Existence, what's his name?
AI. Jude
Law, that's it. So Alfie, that was shit.
Yeah.
They remade Get Carter with Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
That was shit.
Yeah.
They remade Sleuth. They remade Sleuth, and he was the old person in it. And
not good. Also, they made arguably so he was in Poseidon Adventure 2, and they remade, and this was one of my remakes. They made Poseidon Adventure with Kurt Russell.
Oh, did they?
They remade Poseidon Adventure. Kurt Russell is sort of the Gene Hackman-y. Ooh.
RoboCop.
Not good.
RoboCop, the new RoboCop.
Yeah.
The new Total Recall.
New Total Recall, completely forgotten. The old Total Recall was better with Arnie. I mean, it just is. What about The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3?
Ooh, I didn't mind. That was Denzel Washington, wasn't it? In the update?
I'm not saying it wasn't. It
was okay.
Good, but was it better than? Did it need to be made? No.
Was Gene Hackman in the original one?
Robert Shaw.
Robert Shaw
was the baddie.
Yeah. I'm sure Gene Hackman was in it, or maybe I just dreamed.
Okay, and so here's my piece de resistance: a film that did not need to be made and should not have been made, but was The Day of the Jackal.
Oh yeah, and it was just called The Jackal, and it had Jack Black in it.
And Bruce Willis
for 5 minutes.
Bruce Willis. I don't mind it as a film. I watch it.
Spoilers.
And Richard Gere was Northern Irish guy. It was
just called The Jackal, which wasn't as cool a title.
No, it nicked the concept. It was a different film. It was okay, but it's not as good as The Day of the Jackal, which is a classic, and I'll wrestle anybody that says it isn't.
Yeah. Walter Matthau. It was Walter Matthau who was in Taking of Pelham.
He was the Denzel Washington character.
Yeah, but it just reminds me of the Carter song, The Taking of Peckham 1, 2, 3, which is one of the best tracks on 101 Damnations. But Arthur with Russell Brand. Oh my God, yes. Do you know why Arthur wasn't that good a movie in the first place?
Yeah,
they remade it with one of the people I hate most in the world. So yeah, that's got to be.
I have a £10 million. I lost it. That was when £10 million was a lot of money. Something like that.
Oh, Jesus. So Judge Dredd has been mentioned as a good remake.
Interesting.
I wouldn't call it a remake because it wasn't like trying to tell the same story as the first movie. It was just based on a comic book.
Yeah, I love the original Judge Dredd, except it's got Stallone, and I don't like Stallone because he loves Trump. But anyway, I did love it until that point. The new one is a bit boring. Okay,
blasphemy.
I know it is a bit boring.
Blasphemy. Not having this.
I have got it on Blu-ray in 3D, and when he enters the big house full of all the gangsters and all the big build. It's a bit boring.
But it is a remake. It is a remake, just not of Judge Dredd. It's a remake of a Indonesian film. I've forgotten its bloody name now. The heist. The heist. Is it The Heist?
Yeah, is it? Okay. I find it just when he enters the whole shootout and he's in the whole tower with all the villains. Yeah, I just I'm looking at my watch and tapping on my pad. It's not good. I take my 3D glasses off and watch it blurry.
What was Dredd? I mean, it wasn't. I don't think technically it was a rip-off of this Indonesian film. It's just they came out around the same time, and they basically had the same freaking story, and I can't remember what the name. Someone's going to tell me in the chat now.
Yeah,
The Indonesian. They made 2 of them, and they were brilliant. And it was the same thing. It was a cop and a rookie cop going into an apartment block that was run by gangsters, and the gangsters get over the tannoy and say, "Everyone, you got to kill the cops." And they go, "Okay." It's basically Raid. Yeah, the Raid. Yeah, the Raid Redemption. Yeah, the Raid. Have you seen that?
No.
It's an Indonesian kung fu martial arts film. It's very good.
Interesting. I just think that the original Dredd, when it came out, I went to see it in the cinema, and it got slagged off for being not good at the time. But it's one of those films that seasoned up quite well. I think the old Judge Dredd with Stallone has actually seasoned quite well, and actually is an entertaining watch now. But at the time, it got panned.
Yes, because it was crap. Quite rightly, it got panned.
Okay.
Who wrote the new one? Who wrote Dredd?
I don't know. Go on.
Alex Garland, the writer of The Beach and Ex Machina and Civil War, which I didn't like. But the reason why I didn't like it wasn't necessarily because it was a bad film. I didn't like it because of the time it came out. I felt it was a bit inappropriate. Going, oh, wouldn't it be cool to have a civil war in America? And I'm like, no, it wouldn't be cool. Stop. Why are you doing? Oh, are you making this movie? Anyways,
so let's throw another one into the mix. What about War of the Worlds, the original Tom Cruise remake?
I thought the Tom Cruise remake was fucking awful. I hated it. Okay,
BBC then did a sort of really dark version about 2 years ago. Do you remember that?
Was that the one set in the actual time period? Was that the one set in the Victorian
time period? Yeah.
They
did a dark version
because it was set in the Victorian time period. I love the idea of people with muskets firing against spaceships.
Thunder Child.
Yeah.
Sailing through the water.
But no, the Steven Spielberg one could just fuck off. First of all, War of the Worlds are supposed to come from Mars. They're not supposed to dig themselves out from under the ground.
Yeah.
And they've been there for what? Thousands of years? You didn't think to come out before the Industrial Revolution? Didn't think of that?
Yeah.
And they've not got used to our microbes and our organisms and our viruses because they've been underground for... I just didn't get that at all, that bit of it. And then the kid was really annoying. Tom Cruise is really annoying, just in general. I can only take so much Tom Cruise before he starts getting a bit too cheesy and wanky. And the kid who runs off at the end, sorry, spoilers, little boy runs off. He's going to fight in the army against her. He sees all these people getting wiped out on the horizon by the laser beam. Takes them all out the heat ray. And he goes, I want to be one of those people getting killed by the heat ray. And then he runs off.
Yeah.
And then you think he's dead. And then at the very last bit of the movie, he just comes back.
Yeah, that's right.
He's got a
you
little
have a pretty
graze
good
on his
memory,
arm.
honestly.
Like, a little graze on my arm. Hated it. Absolutely hated it. And it was set in the modern day. It should have been set. They were going to set it in America, set it in like cowboy times. Cowboys versus aliens. That would be a good
film. Oh, that's a good film. I like that film. I think then a special mention to War of the Worlds by, Jeff Thingamajig, the album.
Jeff Wayne.
Jeff Wayne. That is a great, when you're doing a long travel in a car, listening to War of the Worlds, it's great.
It is. It is.
A great road trip album.
It's a banger of an album.
No, Nathaniel. You get all the songs out. It's great. And you can do your Richard Burton impression. He'd only dunk 100 yards. It doesn't take him months. Yeah. Oh, I'm David Essex. We'll go underground.
I think Freckle Puny's put Independence Day was essentially War of the Worlds remake. It was, but I found that enjoyable. Whereas I found the Spielberg
except for the plot holes.
What plot holes?
Well, he flies up there in a spaceship, and his laptop manages to talk to the alien software.
Yes, because they use the alien tech that they got in Roswell when the flying saucer crashed in the 40s. They used the tech from that to develop the Apple operating system.
Is that what they did? Okay,
it's in the original script. It's not in the movie.
Oh, right.
It's a bit like in the original. In the original script of The Matrix, as was written by the Wachowski sisters, they said they wanted it to be a neural network, which makes sense. Because you think about all the AI things that are going on right now, right? Yeah. And how much energy they use. So how much energy does a human use in comparison? A lot less. So if you could wire a load of brains together, you could make an incredible neural network that would work out any problems that you could possibly need if you could tap into the brain.
Wouldn't want to tap into my brain, but yeah, okay.
I mean, the reasons were put into the script, and then the execs came along and went, "No, it's too complicated. Screw you, Poindexter. I'm not going to bother explaining this," but they can be explained. Although maybe this is when I think that was the case with the Matrix, but maybe with War of the Worlds they just kind of made that up afterwards. But I'm pretty sure there was a deleted scene where they go to Roswell and Data is there, ironically enough.
Brent
and
Spiner.
he says, we got all this tech from the aliens when they first came here in the
when
40s.
they started showing up, all the little lights started turning on.
And that's why Apple.
So how did they download
worked.
that? How did they work out that? Because he said when they started turning up, all the lights started turning on. So how did they? Do they in the sort of 1 hour, 1 day they had when the aliens rocked up on and started bombing everything?
No, they've been poking around. They've been autopsying. With PJ and Duncan, alien autopsy.
Oh yeah! Oh my god. Okay, I'm throwing another one to the mix. I Am Legend.
I really, really liked the Will Smith version.
Yeah.
It was originally
The Amiga Man.
The Amiga Man with Charlton Heston.
Yep.
I hated the ending.
In the Amiga Man or the I Am Legend?
I Am Legend.
It had 2 endings on the disc.
Did it?
Mm.
You see, what I thought was that it's just one of those things where it's probably just me being picky.
Yeah.
But I hated the fact that a woman and a guy turned up, a kid turned up, and they had to send them off, and there was a camp where loads of people. It just undermined the whole thing of him being the last man on Earth. And he was trying to develop this antidote. And what I thought was going to happen, I thought it was all building up for him. The zombies, the vampires to come in, and him to go, actually, I am you're scared of me. Like, I am the monster who comes and hunts you. And he gets it. And he gives himself the antidote and allows himself to be eaten by the zombies, and the antidote cures them.
Because in Charlton, that's the Charlton Heston one, or him?
In Will Smith in the Smith. That's the version I wanted to see. Didn't want a kid and a woman to turn up in the last act of the film for 5 minutes, and he puts them out. They escape out of an escape hatch or something, and it was just.
Well, I think the Charlton Heston one, his blood, he injects himself with the cure and falls into a fountain and dies, and it's the fountain they all drink from. The zombies drink from.
Yeah. Yeah,
which is a really nice ending.
That's a nice ending. That is a good ending because he sacrifices himself to save humanity.
Yeah.
Whereas that's not how the end. But I don't know. Was there another ending? Did they actually do that on the?
There were 2 endings. I think he lives in one and dies in the one that went out into the theater. So So I think I like just that era of Charlton Heston. He did all the Planet of the Apes, which another remake, a lot of remakes, 3 franchises. But he
Amiga Man
did Soylent Green. And so he did the Amiga Man. From his, because he was 55 Days in Peking, he was a box office big Hollywood star, and then he started doing all these really weird side films.
Well, he played a Mexican in A Touch of Evil, Orson Welles' film. They were like, we need a Mexican actor. Where are we going to get a Mexican from? Here in California. All right, let's get Charlton Heston, the whitest looking motherfucker that's ever whited. And they browned him up.
Yeah.
And they got him to put on a silly accent.
Yeah. So let's talk about Planet of the Apes. The original, there was a television series that followed the films with Charlton Heston.
The original 5. There were 5
films. Yeah. All really good. Then there was a one-off Mark Wahlberg film.
Beneath the Planet of the Apes. Escape from the Planet of the Apes. I want to say
Beyond.
No, I don't think there was a Beyond.
Isn't it Beyond?
There was the one where they went back in time. And then the last one was Battle of the Planet, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
Might have been Beyond the Planet of the Apes.
Well, it sort of ends, the franchise ends with the Amiga bomb, right? So,
No, because 2 of them go back in time, don't they?
Oh, well, that's how it all starts, though, isn't it? Because 2 go back, and then, and then that whole chain starts.
I wouldn't call the new series, I wouldn't call them a remake.
It's a different interpretation, like the Mark Wahlberg one was.
I'll tell you what was a remake, and it was fucking shite. The Tim Burton Planet
That's
of the
Mark
Apes.
Wahlberg film. He plays the.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah,
that's the second. Yeah,
Sorry, I was thinking you meant the
You
new
didn't like
the
that
new
one?
generation of
It's
them.
different, but it was meant to start some sort of franchise and never
Okay,
did. But
since
Mark
we're
Wahlberg was also in the Italian Job film. It might be
yes,
a
which was
Mark
also
Wahlberg
shite,
thing.
and Tim Burton also directed Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory
We
or
should talk
Charlie
about
and the
that.
Chocolate
Let's
Factory.
talk about that. You did. Oh no, let's.
Hated it.
That's a remake.
Yes, a terrible
So
remake.
you didn't like it? No.
I hated it. I hated
Okay.
everything about it. I didn't
I
understand why he had
did.
to sound like Michael Jackson.
I
I didn't
did
understand
like
why
the bit at the
all the Oompa
beginning.
Loompas were the same person.
Yeah. I did like the first bit, where just the bit where he comes out and goes, Willy Wonka, diddle it, and then the thing then breaks and it melts and all the dolls melt and all the kids go, scream. That was quite funny.
There's not only the songs in it, did it? They got rid of all the good songs.
They had a song about each of the kids mishapping, and because the kids said, "Hang on a minute, all these songs rhyme." It's as if you know these kids are all going to get hurt.
Mm.
So anyway,
But yeah,
maybe it's
the
too
Tim
dark for
Burton Plans of
you.
the Apes and the Tim Burton.
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
even
no,
the Tim Burton remake of fucking Alice in Wonderland was a bit
yeah,
shit.
yeah,
It was like, oh, why is it so dark? I mean, it was always a little bit dark, wasn't it? Because
yeah.
you had
It was.
the Cheshire
It was.
Cat and the Queen of Hearts who wants to chop everyone's
Yeah,
heads off. But yeah, there was a good few years there where Tim Burton was just making
yeah,
absolute fucking garbage. I don't know what
yeah.
went wrong.
No, no. Let me throw some more in then.
Okay, go on.
Operation Mincemeat.
Ooh, now I've not watched Operation Mincemeat.
Oh, okay.
I want to. I didn't know that it was a remake.
Or the man that never was. Yeah. Um,
Ah, okay. So I know Felix Hagen, and I actually recorded the audio version of my book, Man of the World, in Felix Hagen's studio. And
okay.
Felix is the guy who wrote the music for the stage show of Operation Mincemeat on
It
the
was,
West
it
End,
was,
which I
that's a
really
funny
want to go and
subject.
see. So
That's
there
a
you
funny
go.
subject for a stage show.
It's a musical. It's a musical. They made a musical of Operation
Oh
Mincemeat.
my goodness.
Come on, should we go and see it? Come on,
Will you?
let's go on a
Yeah.
date.
All right. Oh, well, I'll
Yep,
come and see it. Yeah, I will
brilliant.
come and see it. Emma would like to see that as well. I think, so my view on that is I love the original film. It didn't need to be made, but the film that made wasn't bad. It was actually, it was good. Yeah, it was okay. Just didn't need to be made because the original is so good.
Yeah,
It would
yeah.
be like making the Dam Busters. You don't need to, and don't do
You
it.
don't need to. Well,
So
there's a new version of Highlander coming out, right? And
yeah.
I would love it if they set it in the 80s and had all of the Queen songs, all the original Queen songs,
Yeah.
but just did it really well. Just did it, with good pacing, good direction, a good script. Same story, exactly the same. It's fucking brilliant.
You
It's a
get a
great
Spaniard with a
idea.
Scottish accent again.
A Spaniard with a Scottish accent.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually,
Spanish
he's
peacock.
Egyptian. An Egyptian from
Oh,
Spain with a Scottish
okay.
accent.
Brilliant.
Is Omar Sharif still alive? But yeah,
No, okay.
it's it,
I'd watch the film if you haven't seen the film. I'd give it a go.
Highlander.
I've been no, sorry, just on back Operation Mincemeat. I'd give that a
Oh,
go. Just let me. I'd be
okay.
interested to see what you thought.
Oh, there's a knock on the door. I'm gonna have to go. So I'll just go over there. You wait
Yeah.
there. Are you on the screen? I'll set my mic off, and you can say hello to. Well, no, you keep talking. I'll be
I
back in a
can't see
moment.
the. No, that's all right. I can go to another. I'll go on to another film, which is, and I know Graham is not going to like it, but the remake of Casino Royale. So the Bond film, Casino Royale, obviously with Daniel Craig, obviously wonderful film. Launched his career, really liked it, but the obviously it was a remake of the original film Casino Royale, which was a sort of spoof Bond film with Peter Sellers and David Niven playing James Bond. So it was a great film. The music's quite good. People liked it. It was of its time. We've talked about it before in Down the Rabbit Hole. But the obviously, is it a remake? Is it better? Is it different? I don't know. What do people think? Put it in the chat so Graham can read it. I can't see the chat, but see if Graham thinks when he comes back. But I think it. Oh, here he comes. So earphones in. Casino Royale remake. That's where we are.
Oh yes. Sorry, that was McCurry that I ordered for 7:30.
Oh, it's early.
It's an hour early, so I just had to put it in the oven. Well, it's in the oven. Not the oven's
Right.
not on. It's still in a plastic bag. Probably not
Yeah.
a good idea to put the oven in a plastic bag
Plastic
inside.
curry.
But
Casino Royale.
the original was awful. I mean, I don't mind them remaking that. The original was shite.
It was different. No, I didn't say it was. I didn't mind it. It wasn't meant to be a proper Bond film, but David Niven, Peter Sellers, Bernard Cribbins. We talked about it last week briefly. I think it. It's just something. It's a bit like Peter Cushing's Doctor Who. They're out there. They're not part of the franchise technically, but they're there, not just on the outside hovering, and we all know about them. So
Yeah.
And there were a plot. It was set in a casino.
I never understood why Peter Cushing wasn't embraced as one of the Doctors, because he was a fucking amazing actor.
Yeah, he was.
Do you know what I mean? No one mentions
films.
him. He was in 2 films, feature films.
And Bernard Cribbins was in one of them.
Yes.
Again.
Yeah.
So
Bernard Cribbins,
policeman.
he always turns up. Freckle Puny likes the Tim Burton version of Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
You should write to him and let him know, because you're probably the only one. How about the remake of Stephen King's It? Well, I have a problem with it.
Yeah.
Which is this. The first half is fucking fantastic, and the second half is utter shite. And that's my problem with it. The first half, it's brilliant. It's kids against their greatest fear.
Yeah.
And, they have to see him down. And like, when it was a TV movie with Tim Curry playing Pennywise the clown, it was... it was done in two halves. So you had like the one where the kids were there, and then 28 years later he came back, well, many years it was, and it was the adults going back to Castle Rock or whatever it was called, to go and take this on this evil entity. And I just always hated the second bit. And the remake was okay. I really liked the first part of the remake. The second part of the remake, it was all right, but then it fell down at the end, which a lot of Stephen King adaptations do, because obviously Steve couldn't think of a good way of finishing it, and so it just ended with we're not scared of you, we're gonna laugh at you clown. And he's like, no, don't laugh at me, that'll take all my power away. I'm melting, and then he just dissolves into his hat like the Wicked Witch of the West. And it was just a bit...
I've only seen the Tim Curry one.
Tony Booth Leiden, thank you very much, Leiden, even, for the £5 super chat. I just can't bring myself to watch the new version of The Crow. Oh, there you go. There's another film that didn't need remaking.
Is that old version, the Brandon Lee?
Brandon Lee, yep, son of.
So they had to CGI him into parts of that, didn't they? Because
they cut him into it because he died.
making.
He was shot dead.
Yeah.
During on set by a gun that wasn't supposed to be loaded.
There was The Crow 2. There was The Crow 2. Is that the remake, or is there now?
No, there was a Crow 2, and they've made a remake.
Right. Okay.
No one went to see The Crow 2, but
No,
I saw The Crow 1 at the cinema. The Crow,
yeah, me too.
Again, it could have been. No, the reason why I was just go back to Highlander for a moment. It was very of its time. Yeah. It was 1985. It was one of those peak 80s movies, along with Ghostbusters and Back to the Future and The Goonies. And I feel that same way about The Crow. It was so 1990s. It was so Nine Inch Nails and Tool, and it was of its era, absolutely of its era. And to remake it now, unless you're going to set it in the 90s, and I don't know.
Yep. No, it's a good point. Before we move on to sequels better than the originals, I've got 2 more remakes to chuck at you. Dune.
Oh, I love the thing. Is that
that was going to be an easy one, right?
That's not really a remake, because it's based on a book series, and so you're not remaking a film, are you?
Well, the film with Sting was based on one of the books, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, they're both based on the same book.
Yeah,
but what I'm saying is, like, if it's already based on an existing property, same with Dredd, it was based on the comic book. But, so it's not really a remake. In the same way that the Batman movies with Christian Bale aren't a remake of the Batman movies with Michael Keaton or Val Kilmer or George Clooney.
All right, I'll let you have that. Magnificent Seven.
Ooh, because that's a remake of Seven Samurai. Or you're talking about...
it was remade again.
It was remade again.
Denzel Washington again, Pelham 1, 2, 3. Then he's in Magnificent Seven.
Magnificent Seven. A remake of a remake.
Yeah, there's a bit in that I didn't like the end. I mean, I watched it first because Emma hadn't seen the Yul Brynner version with Steve McQueen and all that gang, and then
Yeah.
but we watched the new one first. Emma's my wife, for those who don't know, and so I made her kind of watch the new one. And there's a bit when they walk out of the church, and there's a big bell. And I was like, is he going to shoot and it's going to fall on the, and he never did. And it was like, oh, there's a missed opportunity. It was just like, the villain walked right under it. It was like, but anyway, that was just me.
But yeah, that's just a straight remake, and
Yeah, it was a straight copy.
a pointless one. Do you know what they remade recently? Well, not recently, about 10 years ago now, but it was Ben-Hur. They remade Ben-Hur.
Instantly forgettable.
What the
I don't
fuck? But here's the funny thing. The one we're thinking of with Charlton Heston from the 1950s, right? That was a remake.
It was. There was one in the 30s. Or
No, it was like 1919 or something, I think. And
early,
Wizard of Oz. Wizard of Oz was a remake. There was an original Wizard of Oz in the 1920s.
Yeah.
And also, one of my most favourite films ever of all time, which is His Girl Friday, 1939, with Cary Grant.
Hello, darling.
That was a remake.
Yeah.
That was a remake of The Front Page, which came out earlier in the 30s and was a serious movie. And then they thought they'd make a screwball comedy around it.
He did a lot of those, though. He did a lot. Cary Grant did a lot of the screwball.
Was he in Arsenic and Old Lace, or is that Cary?
I can't remember. Wasn't. Yeah.
Is that Jackie Stewart? I always get those two mixed up.
Yeah, I mean, he
Jimmy Stewart, sorry.
Yeah,
Jackie Stewart, who's a racing driver. God's sake, Graham.
But he did a
what
load
are they
of
putting
comedy
in this
films.
stuff?
He did loads of comedy that, I Was a Wartime Bride and all that kind of stuff. And there's one when he's the captain of a pink submarine, which is quite funny. But he did a load of that stuff, Cary Grant, around then. But also, actually, the guy who was in Gone with the Wind, Rhett Butler, actor.
Yeah.
He did a comedy film with Doris Day where he was a editor of a really seedy newspaper, and she's teaching journalism in this school, and in this sort of evening college, and he pretends to be learning journalism from her so he can date her. he's running this seedy newspaper that she would never work with and wouldn't have anything to do with. And but she says, "You're really good at writing." "Oh, thanks very much." He's chilling this national news. It's really good. It's a really good film.
The Ben-Hur was originally Cecil B. Mill, wasn't it?
Mill.
Cary Grant was in Arsenic and Old Lace, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
A couple of elderly serial killers. Fucking great film.
Yeah,
The Dune remake was more faithful to the book. I don't
Yeah.
see it as a remake. I just see it as a different adaptation, and it's much more faithful to the book.
Yeah.
It was really good. One of the things that I loved about the Denis Villeneuve versions, the world building in that was just absolutely immense.
Yeah.
You really felt like you were on an alien planet.
Mm.
And I just watched Dune Prophecy, with Emily Blunt, is it? No, Emily Blunt.
Right.
Emily thingy. Shit, I forgot her name. Privately educated, of course. And it's good, but it doesn't have the same grandeur. One of the things I thought about Dune, I also thought about Blade Runner 2049 and also Arrival, is it just the way he fills the screen with these amazing images, Denis Villeneuve, is something that I don't think we've really seen since David Lean.
Interesting.
And those vast vistas of Lawrence of Arabia.
I was really worried about the second. And we talked about Blade Runner before. The second film, I was really worried about it because my wife has got every cut version of that. Yeah, every version of that film on planet and loves it. And we were like, "Oh, this better be good. This is going to be so." And we went and watched it, and we didn't like it first time, and we were really, and then we watched it again, and we bloody loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the original Dune, I mean, I love David Lynch, but I don't necessarily love everything that he did. Yeah. And I could see what he was trying to do with Dune, but the tech just wasn't there at the time. Yeah. The budget wasn't there. Yeah. I mean, it had Sting turn up in gold budgie smugglers, and I didn't need to see that.
It wasn't. Yeah, I found it more kind of disturbing. I watched it quite young, so I found it quite sort of
Jean-Luc Picard in it.
What did he pay?
He was the swordmaster.
Okay.
Who taught young Kyle MacLachlan how to fight with the daggers, because you can't stab someone quick, can you? Got to stab them stuff. But the world building, I really appreciate the world building of Denis Villeneuve, and that's why I think he was perfect to do Dune. There's going to be one more Dune film. So the first two that he's done are based on the first book of Dune, and the next book's going to be based on Dune Messiah. When it turns out that having a Messiah that you've been waiting 10,000 years to turn up might not be all he was cracked up to be.
Oh,
yeah.
You were the chosen one, Anakin.
So white savior dilemma. So that's Sting was good. Lol, says Oliver. And Cecil B. DeMille. Thank you. I should remember that courtesy of Sunset Boulevard. That's why I was pointing at the Sunset Boulevard poster.
Perfect.
Behind me. Scarface is a remake of a 1930s movie that had the little guy. It had
Spencer. Not Spencer Tracy.
The
other guy.
The guy from White Heat.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Cagney. James Cagney.
James Cagney.
Hey, man, look at me, top of the world. He was in the original Scarface, I think, in the 1930s. Completely different story, because in the original Scarface, I think it was based on Al Capone, basically. Yeah. But the new one, he was...
Say hello to my little weapon.
he came over from Puerto Rico, I think, or Cuba.
Yeah.
He was in Hawaii. Hawaii. Fucking, what is wrong with me tonight? He was in Miami. And the Scarface, again, it is very much a product of its time. Watch it again now, and you kind of like, oh my God, this is so 80s. It's kind of painful. Same with The Long Good Friday. It's
somebody's
so
blowing
80s.
up my boozer.
The music is absurd. Like, that last scene. I wish they'd... Do you know what? Instead of remaking it, just use AI to isolate all the dialogue, right?
Yeah.
And then redo it with a better soundtrack, because it's so synth. It's like... It's like someone's just found, you know when you used to get like a synthesizer, a keyboard, and it had those demo settings on.
Yeah.
So that scene at the end where he's sitting in the back of the car,
and he knows he's been done,
and James Bond's in the front seat, isn't he? And he knows he's done in. He knows they're driving him to his death.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh my God! And that scene with better music,
would
be one of the most iconic scenes in cinema.
Yeah.
And unfortunately. It's got someone playing the demo mode of a fucking Casio keyboard, and it's like,
it wasn't great. Like, I do like in fact, the facial expressions are really good at Bob Hoskins in that. But it's weirdly, I was watching an interview with George Clooney this morning. I think you saw it on Zeph Myers. He did in one of his films that I can't remember which one it was, but it was at the end of that. There's a 3-minute scene where he said they stole the location, so they just filmed it in New York. He had to sit in a cab and look at the camera for 3 minutes at the end of the film, and it's all in his face.
Yeah.
And he said, "What was going through your mind?" He said, "I was trying not to laugh." He said, "What do you mean not trying to laugh?" He said, "You look all that expression in the 3 minutes of shooting." He said, "Because we stole the location. We just drove through New York. People were banging on the glass going, 'Hey, George!' And I just had to ignore people smacking on the grass and throwing their boobs at me and bang. And it looks like he's going through a lot of emotion. He's got people banging on the glass of the cab. And I thought that was really clever. I thought that was really... he's talking about this point. Yeah. Some actors, what they have to go through.
One Angry Pagan saying Around the World in 80 Days, Jackie Chan. Again, I don't see that as a remake of the David Niven version, just because there's been other versions as well. And also, it's an adaptation of a book.
Yeah, what's his name?
Willie Fogg? That's what I was trying to remember. And we were talking about the film, the cartoons of the 1980s, and I was like, there was a Japanese-French company that made Mysterious Lost Cities of Gold, Ulysses 31, Belle and Sebastian, and something else. And I couldn't remember what the other something else was. And I think it was Around the World in 80 Days. I think. I might be wrong.
Yeah. Well, Alan Partridge guy, he did one, didn't he?
Yes. That's the one that One Angry Pagan was talking about.
Jackie Chan. Oh, Jackie Chan who's he playing Passepartout?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Or risotto, was he called? What ragu? I've forgotten what he was called in the cartoon. He wasn't called Passepartout. Pete says,
"Is it Passepartout? Is how that's pronounced? Is it?
I don't know. Passepartout.
Okay, because you're the travel one.
Passport house.
We move on to sequels. We need to move on to sequels.
Oh yes, we do. Yeah. Okay,
the sequels better than the originals.
Just before we start on that, right? Can we just have our best remake? Are you going to go with The Thing? Are you going to stay with that?
Let me go down on the ones we didn't do the Mummy because all the Mummy films have been remade, and again, bloody did we do? I mean,
Good
bloody Tom
remake.
Cruise.
I'm going to put that
Tom
on my
Cruise
good
did 'em.
remake. Oh no,
Brendan
that was awful. So I'm going to put it on my bad remake as well. It's
Yeah,
funny this.
Tom
I've got
Cruise
Ben
did a
Hair
Mummy
on both
film.
as well.
It's always it's the same, isn't it? There's the franchise. Then Brandon Foster did some good Mummy films, and then
Yeah.
Tom Cruise does one not great. Then there's War of the Worlds. Tom Cruise does a bad one. Then there's a really good one. It's like okay, I think I'm gonna out of the ones we spoke to, I'm gonna say the real remake I like is I'm gonna stick with what I said.
The Thing.
The Thing.
I think I
Yeah.
have to agree with you. I was going to go with His Girl Friday, but if we're going to be really strict about this adaptation thing, they were both the front page and His Girl Friday were adaptations from a stage play.
Yeah.
So as just a straight, there was a movie and then they remade that movie. The Thing is just head and shoulders. It is such a good movie. Nosferatu. I'm going to put that down as a good remake. I really enjoyed it.
I've not seen that yet.
The only thing I didn't like about it is I've seen that story a million times before. Technically, you could say that it is an adaptation because it's based on Bram Stoker, but it's kind of not because it was a knockoff.
And they went was in one where the film crew were getting bumped off. Do you remember that one? Was the comedy?
Sorry, what was that?
You know,
Dead and Loving
the
It.
new film.
Dead and Loving It. Dracula, Dead and Loving It. No?
Wasn't it where the film crew are filming a Dracula film and the vampire in it is real and he's not, and they're not getting Susie Izzard was in it playing the director, and the film crew were getting bumped off, and the Nosferatu vampire was actually a real vampire.
Okay.
And that was I'm sure I'm not imagining that. I'm sure that was a Nosferatu film, comedy film.
I'll have to check that out. I like Susie.
Yeah.
I met Susie at the Labour Party conference a couple of years ago.
Hey.
Sat next to her. It was great. Freckle Puny says, how about Pale Rider, a remake from Clint Eastwood starring Clint Eastwood of a movie from Clint Eastwood starring Clint Eastwood? I didn't know he remade Pale Rider.
Interesting remake. Pearl Harbor was the new one because that was a remake of a Pearl Harbor film.
Oh God, yeah, but it was shite. That came out in the wake of Titanic, wasn't it? We needed another disaster film. And
we didn't do Titanic because I think the Cameron Titanic is better than The Longest Night and Titanic SOS.
Yeah, that's more of a different adaptation rather than a remake.
Yeah, and we didn't talk about, we talked D-Day also. There was a 1950s film which was really good. I haven't seen the new one, so I can't compare it. But didn't need to be made because the original 50s film was really good. But anyway, there you go.
For my shit remake, I'm going to have The Vanishing.
Right.
Which was a Dutch film called Spoorloos that got remade as The Vanishing, and it was fucking awful, and I hate it with the burning. Those other ones, fair enough, whatever. What we talk about, RoboCop, Total Recall.
Yeah,
I think it's got to be Spoorloos because I think it spoilt the original, and then Arthur because I fucking hate Russell.
Yeah, I think we didn't talk about my worst. Death Race was my worst. I really loved the thing. Death Race, which was the remake with Jason Statham.
Yeah. Did you like it?
It was based on Death Race 2000.
Yeah.
Which was
unbelievable.
David Carradine, which was just at the time, we loved it as kids.
Yeah, because it was so camp. And you got points for running people over. It was like Grand Theft Auto before Grand Theft Auto. Yeah. In fact, I think they used that because Grand Theft Auto got into all kinds of problems when the first one came out, when it was just like a top-down game. Because you ran people over and you'll get a bonus for mowing down a bunch of Hare Krishnas all at the same time.
Yeah.
And so they said, well, what about Death Race 2000? Why is it so different?
Yeah, true. It was at the time as a kid, I loved it. I thought, oh my God, this is so good.
They got points for throwing things at people, didn't they? In one of our dinosaurs is missing.
But I love that. I just remember the beginning and he goes, go! And he puts it in reverse. He goes, oh, he's run over his pit crew. It's just so funny at the time.
Do you know what? We could have just done the whole hour on remakes and left sequels out for next week.
We can do that if you want to.
Well, we can. Yeah, I could just change the title and stuff. We were just talking about remakes in this one.
Yeah, I've got about
some material for next week.
Sequels that could or may not be better than their original, than their first, the first in a franchise. In some cases.
Let's leave that till next week because we've only got 12 minutes, and I want to talk about the remakes of Akira Kurosawa movies. You know, like The Magnificent Seven and Fistful of Dollars and Star Wars and the Usual Suspects and But then he remade films. Like he loved the old John Ford westerns, and they inspired him to make his samurai epics, as he was like, well, we didn't have gunslingers in the old East, but we did have samurais, which are kind of the same thing, I guess, somehow. So he made some really amazing samurai epics, and he also adapted a couple of Shakespeare plays. He did Macbeth with Tommy Mifune, and that was called Throne of Blood. And he did an adaptation of King Lear called Ran, which is really good as well. But yeah, so there was a bit of give and take. He was inspired by John Ford and the cowboy films of the 1930s and 40s. He made Seven Samurai, and then they made The Magnificent Seven, which was a rip-off of that. But I think they paid him for that. I'm not sure. But the big one was Yojimbo. So Yojimbo is about a samurai who comes to town, and there's two gangs in the town, and he has the gangs fucking kill each other. And then he walks off into the sunset with all the money and the women and whatever
that's
else.
That's like that Clint Eastwood film, the one with the hanging thing. Is that one?
That's A Fistful of Dollars. So essentially, that was a remake.
No, there's another one, not The Fistful of Dollars. There's The Fistful of Dollars, Good, Bad, the Ugly.
Few
the
dollars
one where
more.
he gets them to paint the town red.
Ooh.
You remember that?
Paint Your Wagon?
No.
The Outlaw Josie Wales.
No, Clint Eastwood. He's been hung by them all previously. They think he's dead, and he comes back, and he's their sheriff.
Pale Rider.
Is it Pale Rider?
You mentioned that one.
But in that, he has his revenge. He becomes their sheriff to protect them from gangs, and he makes them paint the town red and destroy the town basically to fight these gangs. And then he just leaves them at the end, and it's his revenge on the town for trying to hang him like 5 years before. Is it that? Is Pale Rider? Is it? Could be, because it's not really part of the sort of Good, Bad, and the Ugly, Fistful of Dollars films. It's sort of one on the outside of it.
John Wayne beats Eastwood. He made the same movie 2 more times. He made Rio Lobo, Rio Bravo, and El Dorado. Well, I mean, you could argue that Red River with John Wayne is a remake of Mutiny on the Bounty, but again, I would say it's an adaptation from the book. It's Mutiny on the Bounty.
They remade a John Wayne film, didn't they? The one with the eye patch.
High Plains Drifter was the film you're thinking
Drifter.
of. Everyone's
Thank you.
Everyone is shouting at you from the chat.
Thank you. I can't see the chat. Thank you.
Lovely chat, people. Thank you.
Well done. I love the socialites. They're better than we are. They should come on here and do this. At High Plains Drifter. Yeah, it's outside the franchise of The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, etc. But it's a good film.
Yeah. I mean, it's a bit unfair to call Star Wars a remake of Hidden Fortress. It definitely influenced it, but then so did Flash Gordon, so did 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Alive.
Yeah. I'm so glad they didn't use synth music for Star Wars. Just think about how different it would have been if it had been.
I'm getting into synths at the moment. I'm watching a lot of synth technologies from the 1970s. Guys with beards in big rooms with loads of cables going, "Gosh, we're going to get a sawtooth now. Here we go." Click.
But Michael Caine's been in a few of his own remakes, as he was in Sleuth, wasn't he?
Yeah, so he went from the was it Laurence Olivier who was in the first one?
Yes.
Oh no.
Sleuth and Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf and one other movie were famous for having their entire cast nominated for Oscars.
Okay.
Because don't forget, in Sleuth, spoilers for anyone who's not seen it, put your fingers in your ears, there's only 2 people in it. It's just Michael Caine and Sir Laurence Olivier. And in Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, it's just Richard Burton, Liz Taylor, and then the 2 young people who have come round to watch this bitter middle-aged couple have a massive fuck-off row and make everyone else feel really awkward.
They made Rooster J. Cogburn, the John Wayne film, the guy with the patch. Wasn't it Kurt Russell?
Yes, True Grit.
No, True Grit. But they remade True Grit.
They remade True Grit, and the remake was pretty good. That was the Coen brothers.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, I did like the remake of True Grit.
Yeah.
Kurt
Russell does pretty good films.
They also did a fucking awful remake, The Lady Killers. Oh my God, with Tom Hanks. Taking the Alec Guinness role. The Lady Killers is one of the funniest dark comedies of the Ealing era. I absolutely love it, and
we're going to rob the bank. It's more machine now than it is human. Oh, God. Oh, sorry. Did I get that wrong?
One Angry Pagan says, Lord of the Rings, Two Towers, better than The Fellowship. Great sequel.
I see. That was in my sequel. That's in our sequels.
That's in the sequel things.
I had that. Well done. Well spotted. I have that. A lot of people think the second one's better, and I think it is too.
What about the fair one? That's the one that won the Oscar.
Great battle.
Anne says, my theory is that Star Wars would have stunk without Trace now if it hadn't had such epic music. I don't disagree. I mean, it really transformed it. You re-edit those scenes and put some synthesizer shit on it. It's
you went to sort of Battlestar Galactica original series music, not the Beer McCreary, and you would be in trouble.
Oliver Brown says Richard Burton and Liz Taylor were awesome together in that movie. Okay, another pointless remake, Psycho. The Gus Van Sant version.
The television series was good.
Yeah,
which is a prequel.
Yeah.
But I didn't need to be remade.
A shot-for-shot remake. It must have been an insurance job. Is this like the movie equivalent of like burning down your own warehouse or something? It's like we've got to make a shit film. Why? Well, we've got to keep hold of the copyright. If we don't make a shit film every 5 years, then we lose the copyright on these characters. Okay, well, let's make a shit film then. It was just.
You could do it with a handy cam there and half an hour. Pardon?
Vince Vaughn. Who was the lad in it? The fellow in it. It was the guy from Swingers.
In the series?
No, in the remake. It was it was the woman from 6 Days and 7 Nights, wasn't it? Anne Hirsch. She passed away.
Yeah.
She passed away. Yeah. She died in like a car crash. Not that long ago. She played Marion Crane in it. The original being Jamie Lee Curtis's mum. Janet Lee. John Williams is a genius. Absolutely, Alan. I mean, totally. Some of the greatest themes of the 20th century.
But they made a joke about that in Blue Harvest, right? In the Family Guy, where it's like John Williams, and then they move it over to
Danny Elfman.
Yeah,
and it's like and I was like, oh my god, that's what it would sound like if Danny Elfman had scored Star Wars.
That was funny. Oh no, really cleverly observed. I thought that was really good.
Yeah, did they remake Rope recently? I'm sure I saw somewhere. I thought, why are you remaking Rope? It was. I mean, it gets a lot of shit as sort of one of Hitchcock's weaker films because not much happens because it's all set in this one apartment. But I love it. I think it's really good. I think it's really clever, and I like the way that Hitchcock and I like the way that Lucas, even though he's made some bum films in the past, I like the way they always were pushing for the technology. They're always pushing for color, for better sound. For different ways of doing stuff, and Orson Welles broke down so many. Well, there's so much innovation in Citizen Kane that movies today still owe a debt to that movie in the same way that a lot of films that exist today wouldn't have existed without Star Wars. And love or hate it, that's not just your fantasy films, your sci-fi films, but also a lot of your indie films. There wouldn't be money to pay for them.
Yeah, I'll throw another one into the mix then. The Time Machine, H.G. Wells, the Rob Taylor film,
and then they did Hot Tub Time Machine.
Yeah, that's not the remake, though, is it?
No, there's a remake with Guy Pearce,
Mike from Neighbours.
He'll always be bloke. He only did that for like 2 years back in the 90s, and now that's it forever. Everyone would just know him as Mike from Neighbours, no matter how many Iron Man films he's in.
I love the Rod as a kid. Loved the Rod Taylor film. And living in sort of nuclear war 1980s. It was always poignant to World War III and then the future and coming, and when he does the rings of how the world ended and everything, it was quite depressing for a young kid. But Mike from Neighbours does a rebash, and you think that's not going to work, but actually it did work.
It was all right.
Interpretation. It was all right.
Tokyo Joe says Rear Window was remade with Christopher Reeve after he had his accident. He was in a wheelchair.
That's right. Good memory,
And Time Machine remake is good. Yeah, but also that's another adaptation. I wouldn't call it a remake if I'm going to be strictly strict about this.
Yeah.
It's an adaptation.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, the only problem with the Mike from Neighbours version is he goes, "Oh, the reason you can't save her is because if you save her, you won't have built the machine to go back and save her because you won't need to save her. Therefore, I think I worked that out, and I was like, God, it needs meant to be
That's
oh my
why
God.
there's no determinism in Doctor Who or in Quantum Leap.
Yeah,
I like the idea of a time traveler just getting ping-ponged around, appearing where he or she needs to be,
yeah,
and that's it. You got no control over it, because if you go back in time to do something and you do it, you create a paradox, because why would you have gone back in time if that thing had never happened?
yeah. It's good. I mean, there was in one of the franchises of the Doctor Who. Doctor Who. I think Tom Baker was punished by the Time Lords, even though the Gallifrey had like gone right. But anyway, he got punished by the whatever the.
He comes back.
And they put. Do you remember he had a handle in his TARDIS, so he wasn't allowed to program it to where he could go. He had to he had to go to fix things, sort things out, and the TARDIS knew, and he had to pull the handle, and it was a sort of. Unlike all now they all just go and go blip blip blip. Hold on, hey, where are we going?
Oh, we're here. No, they have said in the new Who that the TARDIS decides where they need to go, because the TARDIS is a living organism.
But he can make it go. He can go. Oh, let's go back to 1956 to blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
and he can do it. Yeah. But there was I think it was Tom Baker was punished by the Time Lords, and he had to push a handle basically, and it went wherever it went. He didn't really have. I think that was part of the. I mean, I'm having a terribly fuffy flashback now to my youth. But I think that was he didn't get to determine where he was going for a while.
Did you watch the finale?
I loved it.
I got really sad because I didn't want Ncuti Gatwa to leave.
Oh,
sorry,
that's why.
If anyone's not seen it yet.
Do you know, it was just perfect because I was warming to him as a Doctor, really going through some of the episodes I didn't like, some of them I really liked, and by that episode I loved him.
Yes,
and I was like, I really like you as a Doctor.
Gutted.
I cried. When what's her name turned up, the other Doctor.
Yeah.
Jodie Whittaker turned up. I cried. I was like, oh, there's two of them. This is lovely. And she was like, oh, don't press this. And
I never said I loved you, Doctor. Oh, I need to say that more. But we don't say that. We never say that in Yorkshire, Doctor. We don't say that in Sheffield.
When she turned up, I was like, I just burst out. And I was trying to explain the end to my wife. About how it ended. I don't want to spoil the plot for people who haven't seen it yet, but I was trying to explain it. And and he was boom, and Jodie Whittaker and boom, and then there was like, and I started to cry because it was so emotional, right? Especially.
But I was really, really, really pissed with the BBC because I was
you got to let
about
it go,
to start
Graham.
it. I had it queued up. Kat she was upstairs and she was coming down the stairs, and me being ADHD, I can't sit there for 5 fucking seconds without looking at someone on my phone. I actually thought I better not look. I've got out of focus. I better not look on social media. I better not look on Blue Sky. Better not look because I'll see it. I'll see a spoiler, and it was on the front page on like the 3rd story down, and it literally told you what happened. I'm going to answer the door. It's going to be Ben Chambers, so he's going to be here in a moment. If you want to just carry on for one moment, and then I'll come back.
Yeah. So I explained the ending. I can't ruin it for people but the ending for me was really emotional. I think it was. I like. Obviously, he, does his thing. And turns into a really surprised character. So I thought it was really good. And I just seen Jodie Whittaker, a Doctor that only a couple of seasons, you get to like them and you grow. And just as they sort of season in, don't they? Sort of 2 seasons in, you're kind of getting to like them. I've never had a Doctor that I've liked more. Like, I really loved when Chris Eccleston came back. I thought he was only a 1-season Doctor, right? And I loved him by the end of that season. But normally it's a 2-season Doctor for me. I don't know about you. Well, they're having a love-in on the ear set. No, I really like Ben Chambers. I wish Graham hadn't spent the last hour slagging him off.
Harris. Oh, it's all gone very professional. Look at that. You've got an actual... Oh, that's really cool. Do I get one of them?
What?
Well, where it said Rachel Harris and it just faded in and out really professionally. What's the bunny in the background?
I can do that for me.
Because we're down the rabbit hole.
Oh, because
the program's called Down the Rabbit Hole.
What? That's very interesting because I've just finished watching a Kiefer Sutherland 8-part miniseries called Rabbit Hole. which I thought was brilliant.
What?
Really good.
What?
It's like 24, but made a couple of years ago, and very few people have heard of it.
I've never heard of it.
It's really good.
Can we sue them for stealing our idea for a name for a
it's
show?
our idea.
Possibly,
We're
or
suing.
better still, we could binge watch it another time. What's this here? Stream Deck.
This is a little screen jack. So someone gives a super chat. Quick, someone give a super chat so I can show them how it works.
Oh shit!
So I can press this super chat button, watch, and it comes up super chat. Thank you.
Oh my god, professional grifting.
Yeah.
It's fucking brilliant.
I can say to everyone watching, give us a like, and the like thing.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this is I wouldn't know where to begin with this. Just looking at the screen in front of me now, it is so multi-stranded and multifaceted and multi-everything. I mean, it couldn't be any more complex.
Graham
I don't know how he does
sings
it
for his supper.
I do
know how he
sing
does
for my
it.
supper.
Yeah, but I don't know how he does it. It's like, it's mega. Okay, rabbit hole, I get that. It's a very particularly scary bunny, that one.
It is.
Thank you.
It is. It's the Donnie Darko bunny.
Oh, are you responsible for that, are you?
I just asked my Pixel phone to AI me an evil bunny, and that's what came up.
Yeah,
Well,
that's one hell of an evil bunny.
on the logo there? Oh, sorry,
Sorry,
mate.
hang on.
Sorry. We're
That's it.
losing Ben.
Yeah.
On the little tiny logo
Yeah,
there,
yeah,
that comes up on the beginning. That's the Donnie Darko bunny. I did
That
that
is
this
the Donnie
afternoon.
Darko bunny. He's very good.
But
I
see, you
like
got
it,
that animation going around there as well.
Oh, I can see that.
And
Yes,
see the politics social stuff's moving on the screen.
All right.
Look at that, mate.
It's,
Yeah?
You've gone up a notch, mate. You've
Thank
gone
you.
up a notch.
Thank
You've
you.
taken it up a notch.
So Ben's here because we're going to watch movies. What movies
Mate.
have you got for us, Ben? Are you
Well,
allowed to
I
say?
don't want to say.
Are you
Well, I
allowed to-
could do, but then it would spoil the fun for you.
Oh, okay. Right.
Um,
Also, it might reveal how you got these movies.
No. I've got them through legal downloading, of course. Like everybody gets their movies
Okay,
these
good,
days.
good,
Obviously,
good. High Plains Drifter. It was High Plains
Hey.
Drifter.
High Plains
Hi,
Drifter.
Plains Drifter.
We'll move up a bit closer.
Oh,
to
sorry.
You're
You
going
want
off
me
the
to
edge.
It
you want me to
was.
snuggle
Whoever's
up?
came up with
He's on
that, thank
scene.
you. Yeah. So when you were off, Graham, all I was saying was it takes 2 seasons to bed in a Doctor, which is why I liked.
Yes.
But Chris Eccleston was the only one that I bedded in 1 season, and then he only did 1 season.
You know, the problem with Chris Eccleston was there was a little bit too much of the with him all the way through it, every episode, that shocked face. I mean, for me, the Doctor is always going to be Tom Baker.
Yeah, he was my Doctor. I
End
mean,
of.
I remember
He wasn't
Sean
even the
Pertwee.
first Doctor. He was like the
No,
fourth Doctor.
but he's Doctor Who. The scarf,
He was the fifth
hat,
if you include
the
Peter
deep,
Cushing.
boomy voice. He was Doctor
Yeah.
Who. Then
We
Peter
need to
Davison
do-
came along from All Creatures Great and Small. And
Yeah.
I don't know, he didn't quite convince me.
No,
I like Sylvester McCoy. He was a quirky little creature.
no.
What's wrong with him?
No.
Okay, have I said something blasphemous?
Rachel's going to get the spray out.
We
Don't
need
make
to go
me
down
get
the
the
rabbit-
anti-Sylvester
Oh.
spray.
What's wrong with Sylvester McCoy?
Yeah, what is wrong with Sylvester
You
McCoy?
forgot poor old Colin Baker in there.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean-
but now is he? And this sounds like a silly question, but is he related to Tom Baker?
No,
Okay,
No.
no.
just pure.
No, Colin
coincidence.
Baker was in Blake 7.
And am I right that the recent Doctor, the first Black Doctor, was kind of sacked because things went a bit too woke? Is that what happened, or is it just
No.
gone crazy?
No. No, the thing was, it wasn't woke enough.
It wasn't
And
woke enough.
What they've done, first of all, there was a woman playing the Doctor, and that made Lawrence Fox cry.
Yeah, but now it's
And
Lawrence
then-
Fox's
and then-
ex.
I know. That's it. It gets better. So then they got a black gay man to come along
to really piss him off.
to
right?
really
Yeah,
piss him
right,
off,
and, that
and
worked.
so he was like crying tears of blood, and now he's shitting tears of blood.
So hang on, are
Because
you
Doctor
saying-
Who's the woman who won't let him see his
So
own
the,
children.
the casting of Doctor Who is entirely designed to stress out and cause great worry for poor old Lawrence Fox.
Is he-
I've suddenly become a Doctor Who fan. I'm going to be watching all of it.
No, but I get Tom Baker because he lives near me. I often see
Tom
him in the
Baker is
supermarket.
just a ledge.
He shops in Waitrose in Tenterden.
Oh, what
Um,
name dropper.
Can I come and stay? I'll go shop.
Hang on, though. Isn't he about 105 now?
Yeah, I'm going to just hang out in.
He drives his own car.
But he's thinner than a rake.
He's a scouser, you know.
He's lost a lot of weight, hasn't he? It's like,
Oh,
you know-
Sarah's given us a super chat. See, it says here, have a chat.
I love that
Right?
one.
Do you want to press the
thank
super
you.
chat button?
Oh,
Go
do
on,
I press that?
The one that says super chat, go on. Ta-da! Thank you very much, Sarah, for the super chat.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. But I mean, Sean Pertwee was actually my Doctor, but
Yeah.
But I spent most of my time behind the settee with Sean Pertwee. I was a little older with Tom Baker, so
Graham knows my feelings about Doctor Who. I think it's ostensibly it is a kids show, and it's
yeah,
for
the
kids.
Sea Devils under Sean
families.
Pertwee.
It's a family show.
but I can't take it seriously because is it still latex monsters?
Yes. Yeah.
What you
Well,
talking about
okay,
Saturday night
nothing's
is
wrong
very
with that.
unfair.
That's your bag.
Alien and Aliens was a bloody latex
Yeah, but that was a
monster.
scary
And then they
latex
CGI'd
monster.
it in Alien 3 and it looked shit.
Yeah, but hang on a minute. The difference there is that the alien in Aliens looks like an alien. All the aliens in Doctor Who look like people in latex suits. That's the
They
problem
used
with it.
to. They used to.
Do they not now?
It's a bit better.
I think
Is
they're
it more
better
CG
now.
now?
They've got to deal with Disney. But okay, before we go though, I want to say I'm gutted that Ncuti Gatwa left. It seemed really evident to me watching it that they had reshot the end because they had the thing with his granddaughter coming back for the first time since like the 1960s. Then you had it was just built up into nothing. You had the thing about him having a child, and then that was built into nothing. And it did feel like the end was very much tacked on.
Yeah.
And there were reshoots. If you look at Millie's hair, Ruby Sunday's hair, it changes lengths for the reshoots, so you can kind of spot them. So I think something's happened, and But
can I predict why Florence Fox's wife has come back as the Doctor?
Ex-wife.
Because she's not a Time Lord, right? But there she is. I think if you remember, this is my theory.
Okay.
If you go back to Chris Eccleston, she had the whole time vortex inside her, and Chris Eccleston said, "You're not meant to do that," and he takes it back off her, which is why he has to regenerate.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I think it's because she's had the vortex inside her.
Yes,
that's why I
it's
think
the vortex.
Time
It's
Lord.
definitely the vortex. Yeah. She's had something inside her.
Hey.
Anyway,
right, we've got another super chat, and then we're going to wrap up. So do you want to press the super chat button? Here you go. Thank you, One Angry Pagan, for the £2 super chat. Thor Ragnarok was far better than the first two films. Very true. Okay, so next week we're going to do sequels. Should we do sequels next week?
May or may not be better than their first film.
Yeah. Sequels that were better.
Is that the really funny one that Thor Ragnarok?
Yes.
That Taika Waititi directed?
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the
awesome.
only good superhero movies I can cope with. It's really funny.
Because it's really funny.
It is really funny.
And it's got the fly in it, hasn't it?
But it doesn't take itself too seriously, which is what
Jeff Goldblum.
That's
It's
what you need.
It's got Jeff Goldblum in it.
God, I love him.
He's just the best. He is the
so
best.
Everybody
and you
loves
watching
Jeff
this at
Goldblum.
home, you're the best too. Right, I'm going to get going. So big thank you to my co-hosts, Rachel, and to Ben here. We're going to watch some movies and eat some curry.
If she's your co-host, I'm your post-host.
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 Very good.
It's almost posthumous host. Not posthumous, that means dead, doesn't it? Sorry, no.
So I'll be back tomorrow morning, bright and early at 9 o'clock for Morning Brew. And until then, I'll say thank you for watching. Give us a like on the way out. And thanks for the super chats. Really appreciate that.
Super chats.
And until next time, do you want to press the end button?
Okay.
Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
There you go.
So good.
Lovely.
How do you get those things in there that say, like, personalised for you?
Because I've got them on. They can still hear us, you know.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Bye.
You should make them.